and we will be recording this session. Okay, so good morning again. My name is Dolores Adams. I am the Director of Procurement for the Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority. This is the pre-proposal conference for RFP 2022-04, Lawn Care and Ground Maintenance Services for the Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Property. I always like to begin these things by having everyone introduce themselves so that we will know who's in the room. So I will start with the PRHA staff that's here, and then I'll let the contractors online introduce yourself. So, Val, could you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Belzenia Jenkins. I'm the Director of Asset Management.
And Lynette.
Good morning. I'm Lynette Blow. I'm the procurement assistant.
Thank you. And we have office manager from Claude's Lawn Care. You have to unmute yourself. Oh, good morning. Okay, thank you. And the Otis Williams.
Good morning. My name is Leotis Williams, and I'm with LW Lawn Service.
Okay. And so thank you all. Like I said, we may have a few more people join us later on, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We are here because it is, okay, that's fine. That happens. We love technology. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't, well, we all know how that story goes. So I will be recorded. Well, I'll send out the recording as part of the first addendum to this solicitation so that you will have a copy of it if you want to go back and review the recording. First of all, I want to stress that this solicitation is for lawn care and ground maintenance services for the PRHA housing properties and our administrative building. That was that is a little different this year. That was not part of the previous solicitation. I'm going to share my screen because I want to be able to go through the solicitation. Hopefully, you've all had an opportunity to review the solicitation, and you'll have any questions. I will write them down. Some of them I may be able to answer on this call. Others we may just have to wait as part of the addendum so that you can have them in writing. Couple of things I want to stress. I always do. This solicitation is due on Thursday, March the 24th at 3 p.m. through EVA. You have to upload this document, upload your document into EVA. If you're not familiar with EVA, if you have not submitted a proposal through EVA before, I suggest that you please contact EVA at that email address, www.eva.virginia.gov. And they have a great customer care um, department that can assist you. Do not wait until the last minute because um, if you're not able to submit your application through EVA, then we cannot consider it. So I cannot stress enough. If you're not familiar with EVA, if you have not submitted through EVA previously, contact them sooner versus later so that you will be prepared and able to do it um, in time to submit your proposal. It is a fairly simple process, but if you're not registered in EVA, you do have to establish an account. So make sure you do that. I've had a couple of solicitations over the last few years where firms um, weren't able to upload their solicitation in time and they missed out on an opportunity to receive a contract. And this is just saying that we do not. You have EVA is the only way that we are accepting proposals. The FAQ, the last date to ask us any questions regarding this solicitation is March the 17th, which is 7 days prior to the due date. That will allow us opportunity to um, send out an addendum if necessary. I also want to stress that this RFP information sheet must be completed and submitted as part of your proposal. I've had proposals submitted by offerors that did not include this information, and we had to go back and request it. This gives us a one page. For at one page, we can find out all the information we need to know from your company. So please make sure you submit this RFP information sheet as part of your proposal to us. The next item I like to stress is our schedule of submittals. This schedule of submittals is put here to assist you and the authority in the organization of your proposal. We ask that you organize it as we have it here. You have spaces where you can initial to say that you have all the things that we are requesting. And although you're submitting it electronically, you cannot do physical tabs that when you used to submit it in a binder where you can stick the color coded tab direct to represent each section. What we have contractors do now is you you submit a tab page as part of your solicitation. So between each section, please just submit a page that says tab one, tab two, tab three, and so forth. And make sure you put the information behind each tab that is requested. This, I cannot stress how important this is because when our evaluation committee reviews your proposal, it makes a, it makes a huge difference if they could go straight to the tab that they're looking for and find the information that they're expected to find behind that tab. If they have to flip through your proposal to look for something, then there's a possibility it may be missed, and we don't want you to be rated lower than you need to be because they didn't see something that you included, but it wasn't in the spot that it was supposed to be in. So we do ask that you complete this submittal schedule of submittals, initial it. Just let us know that you have completed it, and make sure you submit that as part of your proposal. Are there any questions so far before I get into the actual meat and potatoes of the document? Okay, hearing none, I will continue. Um, I know the RFP looks a little massive, but it really is not. A lot of the information included is just that information. It's info for information purposes only, and I always advise our offerers, prospective offerers, just read through the whole thing. But a lot of the documents are form and informational documents. We did include maps of our properties that we have now. We have had a couple of changes since the last RFP that is included in there, and we do have the updated HUD 52158, which is the maintenance wage decision, and that is daily vacant rates. Wage rates are not included in the solicitation. However, um, the maintenance wage decisions are the floor from which you can pay your workers. And generally, from what I found, that most of you are already paying at least that minimum. Most of you are paying more. This contract is um, for 1 year with for option years, so it could be up to 5 years. When we award the contract, we are looking to award to multiple vendors. So it will probably be awarded to more than one contractor. Let me go through. We do have cooperative procurement language in here so that other public bodies in Virginia will, if if they so choose and you agree, will be able to purchase off of this contract. We call it piggybacking, so that they don't have to put out a solicitation on their own. If you have a contract with us, the other public bodies in the state can purchase off of this contract. You will have to honor the rates that are included in this contract with the other public bodies. We have a listing of all our properties and the manager or contact at each of them. We have reorganized a little since our last project, so there will be there may be new contacts for the part for each of the communities that weren't previously the contact. And as I said, we have included the PRHA administrative offices on South Street. And we are not going to do a walkthrough, but we do encourage you to become familiar with the properties, to walk through or drive through on your own, so that you will see their location and the size and scope of each of the properties. We did include information on the acreage, and you do have an overhead of the pictures, but I know you may want to see the properties yourself.
Excuse me, Dolores.
Yes.
I think we're going to remove the cottages.
Oh, hold on. Val, could you ask? Oh, people, you know. Did you say? I'm sorry.
I think we're not going to with the cottages.
Uh,
We're going to we're going to probably remove that.
okay.
The one on South Street. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can do that. We'll do that as part of the addendum.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. No problem. So we will make any the adjustments to the property list we're going to do. We will make as part of an addendum to go out. Generally speaking, services can be performed between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. However, if you make arrangements with the point of contact on site, then you all can schedule times that may be convenient, because I know weather may make a difference as to whether or not you can maintain your normal schedule. You will have a point of contact on each site. Generally, they're the manager, management staff, and maintenance supervisor. They'll be the main point of contact for each site, and they will be the individuals that will, when you check into the office, because we do require you to check into the office when you come on site and when you leave. So because the staff has to they have to sign off on your to complete your ticket saying you have completed your assignment. So if you have not, if the management office don't sign off on it, then you don't want to have anything to keep you from being your invoice being paid when it is submitted. So we have to have your checklist that shows that you've completed all the work you're supposed to do on site. We do say that we do ask and say that we have the ability to increase or decrease the frequency of the service. Right now, it's every 2 weeks. However, sometimes if it's depending on the weather condition, a lot of rain, we may need to have a cut sooner than normal. And sometimes we may have a special event or occasion going on site, and we may ask for a special cut. So, but generally, the cut cycle is every 2 weeks. Our scope of work includes a spring and fall cleanup. We know when you're out of the cutting season and when you're going into winter, we know there are certain things that need to be done on the property because right now at springtime, I'm sure some of the properties have leaves, branches, a lot of stuff that's over the winter that's been put on the site that we need to have cleaned up. We also need to have debris, shrubs, cut, gutters, that type of thing needs to be done. So we are asking for a spring and a fall cleanup as part of the solicitation. Um, the biweekly mowing and trimming services. And so we gave information on the specifications that we would like for mowing. We recognize it's generally April through October. However, as the March, because we've had a fairly mild winter, we are the grounds are requiring some attention in March. We do require that all trash and paper and debris is picked up before cutting to ensure that we don't have it cut up all throughout our lawn. And grass clippings are to be removed from the sidewalks, parking lot, our trash enclosures, the resident porches, and other areas where there's grass shouldn't be. And we do ask that you remove your trash and debris from our property. We don't want it to be disposed of on our curbs and streets and storm drains. I am amazed at driving down the street and seeing people blowing the grass clippings onto the street. I'm like, how do they do that? Get away with that? We do ask that you edge and trim at each cut cycle. So that is to be included throughout the season. So edging is part of the biweekly um, cycle, and we do recommend that guards are utilized depending on the kind of mower you have. Um, Mulching is our preference, but we cannot require that as long as you're able to. You're cleaning up your excess clippings. Resident safety is a major concern with us. So if there are issues where um, the residents are giving you all a hard time, or you need vehicles moved so that you can do your job, please let us know. We do require that you submit a cut schedule of when you intend to be there throughout the season. And what we will do is we will use that schedule to send notices out to the residents to ask them to make sure they move their cars from certain places if that will be a problem when you cut. So the schedule is very important so that we can send notices in a timely manner to the residents. But if at any time during the course of this contract there are any resident issues, we do ask that you contact our management office. Any damage to any electrical or sprinkler pipes or other authority or tenant owned property will be the responsibility of the contractor to repair or replace. Um, we are asking for weed control to be performed bi-weekly or as needed, um, so that we can keep our weeds under control. We really would like you all to cut grass and not weed. So please, we ask that you perform weed control. And we also recognize that there may be times when there's actually weeds and vines growing on our buildings and on our fences that need to be removed. We do allow, I know previously I've been asked by contractors along our fence lines, will we allow you to put some type of herbicide? And yes, that is acceptable. Or close to the build, right up against the building, that is acceptable for us. And we do expect you to follow all types of environmental guidelines where herbicide, pesticides, and other turf agents are concerned, because we know you all are the experts in certainly not us. Um, we have the flower beds, bushes, and trees with mulch. I added trees with mulch in this specifically this year because I know that there are areas where we do have trees that have mulch in it and flower beds. We have more flower beds now because a couple of our properties have undergone some renovations and rehabilitation. And as part of those renovations, they added flower beds that weren't there previously. So, um, so I recognize that this contract will include more flower beds, like in Dale homes. There were previously they were not flower beds there. The man only those that the residents had put in place. With the renovation in Dale, they were flower beds were added to the unit, and bushes were added to the they weren't there previously. So there will be there's we have at least 3 times a year. We found that usually 2 times um a year works as far as mulching with flower beds and the trees, but we do want to make sure that that is done. One thing that we ask is um, the mulch should be removed and replaced annually. I know there was there has been questions that staff has asked several times, should the old mulch be replaced? At least annually, we want the old mulch removed and new mulch put down. As far as bushes, bushes shall be maintained monthly or as needed. We have to make sure the bushes are trimmed. Um, one of as especially the ones that are near the unit because they have to be below the window line of the unit. Um, we need to ensure that bushes do not become safety hazards where people they're large and overgrown and people can hide behind them. So we really wish to maintain the condition of our bushes. Do I are there any questions before I go on? And please feel free to stop me with questions if you have any. We do have a couple of sites that have playgrounds. So we want to make sure Seaboard, Swanson, and Dale have playgrounds. Make sure that they are maintained, and we want playground mulch there. In our Seaboard Square community, they have a rain garden, so we need to have that maintained, mulch on a regular basis. At our admin office, we have a Filterra stormwater system. So it's located in our parking lot, and that's got to be cleaned out semi-annually to remove trash and other debris. And I was surprised the city does come around and inspect these Filterra systems. So it is very important that is maintained because um, they will send us a nasty gram if it is not done correctly, if it is not maintained properly. And there may be times when we ask you to do some additional tasks, and I ask you to price those separately. We may ask to have some of the properties aerated because we have areas with grass um, that are bare, and there's some erosion issues with that. There may be need for topsoil, grass seed or straw, and then we have snow removal during inclement weather, and we like to include putting sand and salt on the sidewalks and in the parking area, and that is as identified by the authority. No, we will request that service. It's not something that we may have asked all the time at all properties, but it is a service that we may request. Generally, um, the 3116 South Street, our admin buildings, and Stevens Square, which is our elderly development, are done on a regular, and then other sites as needed. And it may be, and it may not be the whole area. We may want a portion of the parking lot thing, but we will request, and we will issue you a task order or email, something to let you know that we're requesting these additional services. We just need to make sure we have a price for them, so when we need them, if and when we need to have these services done, we will have we will already have our price in place to do that. And I want to next. I like to go to attachment 5, which is the price proposal, to see if there are any questions with that. Um, because I added some things in there this year. Um, if you've had a chance to review the solicitation for the price for proposal, the top line where you see number of cycles, that's where you put the lawn care. We have lines for the flower bed maintenance, bushes, bush trimming, weed control, mulch removal. I added a space in there for that once a year mulch removal. The spring and fall cleanup, I added a price area to price the spring and fall cleanup. And then some like property like their home, there's a fence area that needs to be cleaned out periodically. It's as needed. It's not something that's done on a regular, but we need a price there for the fence line cleaning. So I just wanted to point out that we added separate line items for these things. And if you would like to have this, the Excel spreadsheet version of this emailed to you, let me know. Send me an email to request it, and I can send you this form as an Excel spreadsheet. You can type your numbers directly in there. So let me just send me an email and let me know if you like to have this as an Excel spreadsheet. So those are the areas I did. Oh, this year HUD has changed to Section 3 requirements. Because we are a public housing authority, we have to abide by Section 3 rules. And what Section 3 says is, to the greatest extent feasible, if you may, we want to have the economic benefit of these contracts to benefit low-income individuals, in particular those that are in the communities that are served by PRHA, be it public housing or our housing trust voucher, Section 8 participants, or low-income residents of the city or the Hampton Roads area. So they have changed the requirements. Before we were looking at new hires. Now Section 3 looks at individuals that you may already have employed with you. And it is not based on a family income. The Section 3 is based strictly on income. It's based on the income of the individuals that work for you. So there are two different certifications that are included in this solicitation. One is a Section 3 worker certification. So a person can self-certify that they are a Section 3 worker, and they can say if they're automatically Section 3 if they're a resident of a public housing community or a recipient, a participant in the housing choice voucher or Section 8 program. If they can check yes to that, then they're automatically considered a Section 3 resident. And the other way that they can be considered a Section 3 resident, if they're not a participant in a program that's run by either PRHA or any other housing authority in this Hampton Roads area. And metropolitan statistical area, it's based on their income. So what you look at is they can say if their income, what is their family income? And so based on their income, and we do have income guidelines, if they fall within these income guidelines, um, make less than $47,000 a year, then they are considered a Section 3 resident. So you may already have workers on your payroll that are Section 3 residents, and you may not be aware of it, that they meet these requirements. And if you do, then it's to your benefit to fill out this form here. This is the Section 3 business certification. And what we ask, there's 3 ways that you can become a Section 3 business. If it's owned by low or very income persons, if it's controlled by a public housing or a Section 8 waiting list, Section 8 participants, or if you have Section 3 employees, if 75% of your labor hours over the prior 3-month period are performed by Section 3 workers. And like I said, the previously Section 3 workers are those that meet those income requirements. So they can either be a low income making less than $47,000 a year, or they can be a public housing or a Section 8 participant, public housing resident or Section 8 participant. So you don't even have to look at new hires. You can look at your current workforce to see, based on those that you are currently employed, will they qualify as a Section 3 resident. And you can determine, based on the number of people that meet those Section 3 requirements, whether or not 75% of your labor hours over the last 3 months were performed by these low-income residents. And if you can certify as a Section 3 business, then that you get extra points in the RFP process. It's 10 points that goes in your favor, up to 10 points. And it will also help because the housing authority has to report to HUD our Section 3 contracting with either Section 3 businesses or the hiring of Section 3 residents. And that's a requirement we have to it's a HUD requirement. We have no option. So I just definitely wanted to highlight our Section 3 requirements. So that's all I had. The one thing I do want to also highlight is I do not need you all to return me back this RFP. I don't need the RFP. What we do have in your, if you look at the schedule of submittal, it tells you the forms we want back. We want you to provide us with experience forms so that we can see your prior experience with other housing authorities or similar organizations. There's a questionnaire that we have in there that let us know whether you've been debarred or you've had any other issues that says you cannot contract with a public agent entity. We ask that you provide us with our form for your MBE or WBE certification. And we do ask that if you are certified as a MBE or WBE or a SWAM business, that you include your certification so that you can get those points. The Section 3 forms, if you're going to ask that you complete the Section 3 form, then you are or not a Section 3 business. Your price proposal has to be included. And then there's a HUD certification. Then under tab 8, you have these required forms. Those are the forms that's included in our package that we ask you to return. So you do not have to, because I've had so many offerers send me back the whole RFP. We don't need that. We require what we have listed here and the information that we ask you. Tab 3, when we're asking you for to tell us about your capabilities, your work plan, your quality and control plan, that all comes from you. That is not a form. That comes from you. You're giving us, providing us that information. When we ask you to provide us with the org chart and your resumes and evidence to show that you have experienced staff, that comes from you too. There's no form for that, but we just want to make sure that you only send us back what we requested, um, not send us back the whole RFP package. So that's all I have. I'm going to ask Val, do you have anything else that you want to highlight um, for the contractors to keep in mind, or some issues that you've had in the past that you want them to make sure don't occur again?
Well, actually, I do. I just want to reiterate that the contractors are supposed to come to the rental office when they come on site, and before leaving, they're to come on site. And also, as far as making sure they're picking up the grounds before they cut the grass, because that has not been done in the previous. So I just need to make sure that that's being done on all the sites. And for some reason, if there's an issue, they need to let the manager know. Don't go to maintenance supervisor, because normally what happens is the manager is going to be responsible for signing off, on the forms that they had been there.
Okay. Thank you, Val. Lynette, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Are there any questions from the prospective offerers?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
As it relates to section 2.3, ongoing mowing and trimming services, specifically, just piggyback off what Val just said, 2.3.2, the contractor shall remove all paper, trash, debris, including limbs, rocks, ground, walks, curbs, gutter areas prior to mowing. That's not a problem. My question is, will we get some type of assistance on some of these properties? Because some of these properties, I've seen my guys be out there 45 minutes or more just picking up trash. So is there something in place that the residents or someone can assist in getting some of that trash up prior to us coming out there? We know what we have to do, but sometimes, again,
I'm sorry, Leo. It's normally what happens. Maintenance, in our section 3, they're out there first thing in the morning picking up grounds.
Okay.
So that's the standard procedure for us, is that they do the grounds in the morning between 8:30 and 9:30.
Okay. All right. Between 8:30 and 9:30. Yes, ma'am. That's my only concern.
I know you're probably talking about Dale, but yeah, I know. Look, I understand.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Claude. So you have no questions. Any other questions? Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Well, as usual, what I find is once you may have a question that comes up, and I ask that all questions be submitted in writing via email to me. My email address is splattered throughout the solicitation. I need you to, and then we will provide answers to the questions as part of an addendum. We will issue, like I said, an addendum one that will include the recording from this meeting, as well as questions asked in this meeting, asked and answered in this meeting, and any questions that come in from you all. So there's no more questions. I'd like to thank you all for coming. I look forward to receiving proposals from you all. And I want to stress before I go one final time that all proposals have to be submitted through EVA at the email address included in the solicitation. And if you are not registered with EVA or not familiar with EVA, I please ask that you do that. Get familiar with them sooner versus later because the solicitation is due the 24th of March, and you don't want to wait until the 23rd to try to get familiar with EVA. They are very helpful. Customer care EVA is very helpful and can assist you with getting registered and assist you in telling you how what you need to do to upload your solicitation. It's fairly simple, but if you wait to the last minute, as we were talking earlier about technology, sometimes um, at the moment when you really need it, things may not work right. So please don't wait to the last minute, and please contact Eva as soon as possible because I had a contractor tell me from a solicitation I had last month that it took them a couple of days to get a registration through their EVA registration done. So you don't want to wait till the last minute and you can't submit your proposal because you hadn't had your EVA registration done. It hadn't happened yet. So please, you can contact them anytime to make sure you're registered with them and ask them any questions about submitting. So if there are no other questions, once again, I'd like to say thank you all, and I look forward to receiving your proposals. So have a great rest of your day, and if you have any questions, other questions, please do not hesitate to email me so that I can provide you with some answers. Okay? Let's stop the recording.